Are you feeling a bit bored these days? Well, eating is a great way to pass the time.
A fun way.
It is a fun way, but it comes with a lot of consequences that we don't really want. So we're going to talk in this video today about 4 things that we kind of look to when boredom starts catching up with us to control our eating.
So we are certainly in the midst of one of our more boring times as a world right now. But there's always times that boredom hits. So you need to have some ideas of what to do. And we just wanted to share what we have been doing. It might be totally different for you guys, but hopefully you'll be able to gather some new thoughts too. One of the things that you have started doing is morning hikes.
That's right. So we live very close to the mountains and the Appalachian Mountains. So all you people who live in the Rockies, you don't need to snicker about our tiny little mountains here. It takes me about 10 minutes though to drive to the top of the first mountain range here, and there's a nice trail that goes out and back, and I can spend about an hour out there. And you'll be out in it's nice and quiet, it's fresh air, I'm just catching the sun coming up usually in the morning. It gives me, it's a nice time to think, just walking along the mountain trail.
Yeah, get that first morning sun, that vitamin D. It's great.
Yeah. It's probably not quite as intense as your exercise sessions with Maddie.
Yeah, no. Yeah, Maddie and I go on the slowest possible walk around town that you could possibly imagine. She's not a fast walker and has to sniff absolutely everything.
Well, she has little tiny legs.
Yes, she has a dachshund legs. But we've been going much more often, and I've been walking around the neighborhood a lot more too. It's very nice. And one thing about this time of year, that if we can find something positive here, is that it is spring. The sun is out more. It's warmer out, so it's just much more inviting to get outside. So we've just been more active in that way, and that also has like a good mental start. So getting out there in the morning and getting morning exercise, it makes you more motivated to stay with your diet and your plan as the day goes on.
Right.
And one of the things that we have really taken seriously now with this boredom and being kind of enclosed in the house is intermittent fasting. Not that we weren't serious before, but really being very diligent with it.
Intermittent fasting, so scientifically speaking, the hormone ghrelin is at its low point in the morning when you get up. And that's the kind of we talked about that. It makes your stomach growl, makes you kind of hungry. And for us, mornings tend to be the busier times of the day. We get up relatively early, 6-ish, and kind of like to have things well towards completion, towards midday. So intermittent fasting is something that we utilize. It's not been hard for us to do.
Right, so that's not hard. And I think probably a lot of people that watch our channel probably do intermittent fasting in the way that we often do it, which is stopping eating after dinner and then wait until lunch to eat. So part of that, is where the problem comes in. So it's controlling that late night hunger, that late night snacking, I should say. That is really where we get to this is an issue for us when boredom hits. Because the day's done, your chores are done, you want to relax, and like you said at the beginning, eating would be a good thing, a good activity to do.
Oh, yeah, evening rolls in, the sun goes down, and you're kind of, just settling in, prior to bedtime, and, that'd be a fantastic time to have a bowl of ice cream.
Right, so what happens with that bowl of ice cream in the evening hours? Well, that is the problem here, because our bodies are just naturally less sensitive to insulin in the evening hours. And when our cells are less insulin sensitive, what that means is that the ice cream that we eat at 9 o'clock at night is not going to get into our cells as easily. The cells are resisting that energy coming in. The consequence of that is that your blood sugar stays raised throughout the sleeping hours, and as does your insulin, which is blocking fat burning all night long. So there's a lot of physiological consequences to eating late at night. So how do you get past it?
Well, so, you have this concept, and I'm going to let you talk more about it because you use it much more than I do, but it's called stoppers.
Right. Well, I've talked about that on our channel quite often. It's just kind of a name, not a real imaginative name, but it's a name I created for just activities or food item or a drink that just separates you from the desire to eat.
Not ice cream.
No, no, that doesn't count. In fact, stoppers are a great way to get your fast started in the evening because they will stop your dinner. Dinner, just the act of eating stimulates your appetite, so it's easy to keep going and hard to stop. Well, a stopper does that for you. So I've talked about this on our channel, and I talk about it over on my other channel a lot. But it's things like a minty sugar-free gum or like a hot drink, like a hot tea. And having that right by your plate, right after your dinner, so that you can pop the gum in and it changes the taste in your mouth, makes you less likely to want to keep eating. Or like a hot drink that takes a long time because your brain needs a few minutes to tell you that, all right, I'm full. I can separate now.
I think they actually refer to that in your brain as a pattern interrupt. There is something to that.
Yeah. I think there is. I think there is something to it, like physiological. I'm sure, but it's just such a mental advantage for you that
Right, and I'm going to stop saying ice cream because I'm starting to think more about ice cream now.
Yeah, right. Our bodies are so adaptive, right, in the evening. So if you are a late night snacker and you tell yourself tonight you're not going to snack, your body remembers that this is a time that you give it food, and it's going to produce digestive enzymes. It's going to produce hunger hormones that are going to try to remind you, oh, this is the time that you eat something. Yep.
Yeah, you got to kind of push through that. I mean, it will pass, and the more times you do this, it gets easier, and you're not sitting there suffering through the hunger pangs after dinner.
And I think that is very true for you and me. We used to eat late at night. We now don't really have that much trouble not eating after dinner. It just kind of is like an off switch. We don't really even give it much thought, just because we have done it for so long that our bodies are like, oh, okay, it's over. A little bit of a bummer, but it's over.
It's over. Yep. So one of the other ways that we've found to kind of fight some of this boredom, is projects or hobbies. I know that somebody brought up in a recent video that I've never thrown away anything in my life.
Oh yeah, that was me.
Okay.
And it was an accusation that was very accurate. But anyway.
Because of that, we now have a basement cleanup organization project that could last a week or two.
It drives me nuts.
And you're welcome.
Yeah, it drives me nuts. So I should take a pre-picture now and hold your feet to the fire. When is your deadline to get it done? But this is a time. Actually, I've been down there too. This has driven me downstairs to get some books and stuff organized. But this is actually a time of year where you do take on a lot of projects, which does help. I mean, having something that you can physically do with your hands or be out in the garage or something like that working.
Right, and typically in springtime, I always kind of put together a project before my daughter's birthday, and it usually starts out as something fairly simple and practical, and by the time I had enough input to over-engineer it, it turned into something that weighs 800 pounds and has to be bolted together in place because you can never carry it there or move it once it's there.
Right. So now that our daughter got married and moved out of the house, she can't take any of the stuff that you took her because it all weighs like 400 pounds.
It's nice stuff, though.
Which is nice. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'm happy to have it.
Yeah.
But you don't have to go to that if you're not a builder. Anything that occupies your brain and your hands. I used to always like to do jigsaw puzzles. Actually, I still love to do jigsaw puzzles. I just haven't done one for so long. My life has been kind of busy.
I mean, and you could get if you don't have jigsaw puzzles, you can get it from Amazon within a day or two.
Yeah.
Yeah,
something to look forward to, something to do, and it does keep you occupied in those evening hours.
I know we were talking about this idea, and I thought back about 20 years ago, we went through several weeks where we were getting, a snowstorm like every few days, and the office would be closed and we'd be stuck inside. And one of the things that I found to do was I found a airplane model, just a plastic model.
Yeah.
And I used to do models as a kid, so I
Yeah.
bought this airplane model, and it kept me occupied. Then, you know, just my brain was occupied, all the little pieces, following the instructions, and it did help pass that time.
Yeah, I think there's, you know, there's always looking for the silver lining in times like this, and there is actually something to the fact that our life has slowed down, and not in a bad way. Our lives were going pretty high throttle there for a long time.
Our days were getting pretty frantic at times.
Yeah, they were, and it was, you know, just kind of. Yeah, so I don't know. I think I'm ready for this all to be past us for sure, but it's not without its moments of like, okay, kind of reflecting and reframing things. But you know, sometimes you have to be a little bit creative. Let us know what you've been doing. If there's something there, maybe it'll help us, give us some ideas, or help others in the comments down below. Or you can spend time over at drbeckyfitness.com.
Yes, if you're bored, go to drbeckyfitness.com.
Yeah, you know, I just at that we have a great blog, a lot of great information.
Lots of resources.
There are a lot of resources free for you. We have a free fasting guide. We talked about fasting, so we'll point to that here in this video. But hey, thanks so much for being with us again today, and we hope that you guys are all doing well. We will see you in the next video.
We'll see you next week.